If you know Chinese, there are some high-level secrets that you can quickly access in the public. For example, the following 3 prestigious scholars from China tell the world how China has caught up with the United States in a short period of time. Let's listen to some excerpts from their speeches. First, Zhang Qichao, visiting professor of MBA, EMBA program in 60 universities, including Tsinghua University and Peking University, chairman of Huashi Brother Culture and Education Group, and chairman of Jingsan Zhang Investment Management Group, whose clients include the 4 major banks in China, insurance companies such as China Life, China Telecom, Vanke Group, Alibaba, and many other industries and fields. In the video, the speaker, who has long been active in the university's politicals and business circles, talks about how Chinese Communist Party has used the reform and opening up policy to acquire foreign capital, technology, management experience, and a series of other schemes. He summarized that for decades, the Chinese Communist Party has been targeting foreign investors with only one thing: copying. And their means are partnership, learning, and working alone.
学会单干。
40 years have passed, and now we have all become single operators. Plants are ours, equipment is ours, technology is ours, patents are ours, the market is ours, and the brand are also ours. The foreigners have all gone, Zhang Qichao concluded. We have been copying all the way until we are in the world's first role. We copy barbarically and plagiarize barbarically. What is intellectual property rights? What is patent technology? We do it first. Zhang Qichao said, "The US found out about it and don't let us copy anymore." This is when CCP government ripped out the slogan, "Development is the only hard truth," and replaced it with, "Innovation is the first productive force." For the result of the Chinese Communist Party's strategy of raising, trapping, and killing foreign companies, according to Zhang Qichao, this is precisely why Yang Jiechi, a member of the CCP Politburo, and Wang Yi, foreign minister, were capable of being tough during the high-level US-China dialogue in March this year. Second, Di Dongshen, Vice Dean of School of International Relations, Renmin University of China. Last December, Di Dongshen gave a speech titled, "Will China's Financial Opening Attract the Wolves of Wall Street?" Also revealed the dark secret of the Chinese Communist Party full-scale infiltration of the United States. In the video, Di Dongshen said that from 1992 to 2016, US-China's relations have been a way like a couple fighting with each other, but both get over it soon. We fixed everything in 2 months. The Chinese Communist Party has people at the top, our old friends at the top of America's core inner circle power and influence, who can handle Wall Street and the US establishment. To put it bluntly, over the past 30 years, we have used the US power core. Wall Street began to have a very strong influence on US domestic and foreign affairs in the 1970s. He also stressed that the CCP's way of dealing with Wall Street is if one pile of money doesn't work, then make it double. But all of that became to an abrupt end with Trump's ascension to power. Di Dongshen turned the tables and said proudly, but now Biden is in power. He also implied that there is a deal here, and that if Biden takes office, the Chinese Communist Party will be able to use the power of Wall Street to influence the US government again, just like before. In his latest video on February 2nd, Di Dongshen claimed that the Chinese Communist Party's Belt and Road Initiative is not just chasing energies and mines in developing countries, but actually chasing the young lives of the countries along the Belt and Road. He believes that the CCP's export of the strong government model to countries along the Belt and Road is a form of building Xi Jinping's community with shared future of mankind. He also suggested that the CCP should invest more in countries along the Belt and Road instead of lending, so as to strengthen its control over these countries. This would enhance the status of the Chinese yuan and establish a new value benchmark with the yuan as the pricing currency. According to Zhai Dongshen's latest interpretation of the CCP's One Belt, One Road initiative, the core competence for the CCP to become the center of the world is to raise the CNY's international currency status. Third, Jing Canrong, Associate Dean of School of International Relations, Renmin University of China. Speech delivered in Guangzhou in July 2016. The topic was Sino-US Strategic Philosophy. The speech talked a lot about Chinese Communist Party's penetration and control of the South China Sea and Taiwan issues, and how to eventually win over the United States. In the video, Jing Canrong has proposed several strategies and plans to bring down the United States, and he believes that by manipulating the U.S. elections so that all U.S. congressional districts have Chinese investment, China can hold thousands of votes and influence the attitude of the U.S. legislators. Second, control the U.S. market to increase the Chinese government's investment in the United States, which will allow Chinese businessmen to control the U.S. market and also attracts Americans to come to China for development. He also mentioned that while most Chinese are still angry at the purchase of U.S. Treasury bonds, resulting in Chinese people carrying the debt for U.S., this is the real purpose of Chinese Communist Party to take advantage of the crisis of the U.S. subprime mortgage, to acquire a large number of U.S. Treasury bonds and to buy houses and lands in the U.S. Third, cultivating America's enemies. He believed that we should make sure that America has 4 enemies and that the terrorism is America's biggest enemy. And if we let America have 4 enemies, we can make them lose their way. If the U.S. has 4 enemies, they can be disoriented. Create enemies for the U.S. to keep it busy and penetrate deep into the U.S. so that both parties have the checks and balances. The task of next generation is to put the United States in charge as well. Fourth, bringing international problems to the U.S. He believes that if global problems arise, the U.S. will have to intervene to ensure global stability, which can instead deplete U.S. resources and divert attention from China. Fifth, reclamation of islands in the South China Sea to expand the territory, armed unification with Taiwan to establish global influence with leading projects, exert pressures to influence international organizations, weaken the United States, and achieve the strategic purpose of helping the Chinese Communist regime to become more powerful and dominate the world. Sixth, the use of network hacking. He said before that there is no network in the old days. Now is different, and we must utilize it. The United States believe that China steals almost anything from them, including the personal files of civil servants and the most important part, technology. They think like our J-20 fighter aircraft, Dongfeng 41 missile, and many other key technologies were stolen from them. Intellectual scholars under the Chinese Communist Party system proudly regard stealing and plagiarism as a matter of honor and pride, not knowing what shame is. In recent years, plagiarism and counterfeiting have intensified in China, resulting in the emergence of systematic counterfeiting industrial chain. Plagiarism and falsification have become the commonplace in all industries in China, not only in the fields of business and scientific research, but also in the fields of medicine, human geography, and social sciences. In a feature article published by the British journal Nature on March 23rd, another plague from China was revealed, namely the problem of plagiarism and forgery in academic papers. With the number of fake papers from Chinese hospitals alone in the medical field increasing dramatically by about 50 times in recent years. In January 2021, 3 journals of the Royal Society of Chemistry withdrew 70 allegedly fraudulent papers from China, and the RSC issued a statement that the Society's journal had fallen victims to a systematic paper fraud industry. In July 2020, the Wall Street Journal also shocked the Western academic and publishing circle by exposing the alleged forgery and mass production of more than 100 papers by Chinese hospital and medical researchers. This situation has not been stopped today.